It's the Spring Fundraiser on Iowa Catholic Radio.
Good afternoon. Welcome into, I almost said the Catholic Morning Show, but we are in the midst of the Spring Fundraiser. It definitely does not feel like morning as we are making our way through the mid-afternoon, welcoming in to the fundraiser, making a cameo appearance, the one, the only, Erin Hurley. Erin, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Deacon Mark. Thanks for the invitation to come back to the studio.
I haven't seen you since the fair, which isn't true, but that's it's great to have you back with us here and helping out during the Spring Fundraiser. Of course, it takes many hands and many voices to proclaim the light of Christ, and we're highlighting that all of this week with guests and stories, testimonies of people who are shining the light of Christ in their communities, in their parishes, and in their families. And we're here to remind you that you are the light of the world. And because of you, Iowa Catholic Radio has been able to do the work of teaching, defending, and evangelizing our Catholic faith, and just sharing the light of Christ to all who have encountered it throughout 2 decades now of broadcasting in Iowa and now beyond, as we've grown to 5 signals across the state of Iowa. And we want you to be a part of it. So call 515-223-1150 or go online to iowacatholicradio.com. Erin, we also can, people can text by texting the word donation.
You're getting so modern.
Careful now. Right? We are into the 2010s now. But we are, no, you can text donate to 515-223-1150. We'll send you back a link where you can make your gift safely and securely. We also have Venmo. IA Catholic Radio is our Venmo account. And so we're not just trying to make it as easy as possible to shine their light and help support the mission of Iowa Catholic Radio. Erin,
look at you go.
You're like, your mind is blown.
My mind is blown. Right when you got to Venmo, my mind was blown.
Yeah. Well, there are more surprises ahead if people just tune in and listen, because we've got a great lineup of guests this afternoon. We'll get to one of them here very shortly, but let's pray, Erin.
Heavenly Father, your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, reminds us in the Gospel of Matthew, you are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Fill us with your grace so that we may truly shine with the light of Christ in all we do. Bless the mission of Iowa Catholic Radio and all who listen today. May every word spoken, every story shared, and every prayer offered help lead souls closer to you. Through the loving intercession of the Blessed Virgin Mary, under her title of the Immaculate Conception, may our hearts be open to God's will, just as hers was. And through the powerful intercession of St. Gabriel the Archangel, messenger of the good news, may this work of the Catholic Radio faithfully, I thought I was going to say Catholic Radio family, faithfully proclaim the gospel and carry the light of Christ to all who are searching for hope. Bless all those who support this mission with their prayers and generosity, that together we may continue to shine your light throughout our communities. We ask this through Christ our Lord.
Amen. Thank you for that, Erin. And before I let you get into your interview, I want to just give some thank yous to those who have made their pledges today. And we've knocked out a couple of $1,000 matches through the generous donations of our Challenger Club. Brad and Allison put up $1,000. They live in West Des Moines, and we can thank Timothy and Janice, Scott, Jennifer, Steve and Jennifer, Chris and Amy, Jane, Philip, and Darla for helping wipe out that $1,000 match. Also, we had a $1,000 challenge from David and Joanne, and because of Rick, Kathy, Dan, Patricia, Ashley, Nancy, and Paulina, we knocked out that $1,000 match. We'll have more to update you on. But all dollars are matching. Make sure when you call in with your gift, you mention your parish, because the top 5 parishes who generate the most new monthly givers or $100 pledge or more, the parish that generates the most, 5 top parishes that generate the most will get a parish staff lunch from Chick-fil-A. So if you need more reason to give, I can't think of any more. 515-223-1150. We have volunteers waiting to take your call. Erin, back to you.
Okay, now I welcome into the studio Sue McEntee with Catholic Foundation of Southwest Iowa, Executive Director. Thank you for being here.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
So we've talked a little bit in preparation for today, but there are listeners who may be very familiar with the foundation and some that are hearing about you through this conversation for the first time. Mm-hmm. So can you just sort of start at the beginning and let us know more about the foundation?
Absolutely. So we've been in existence since 2012, and our mission is really to connect our faith to investing and planned giving. And we work with nearly all of the parishes, many of the schools, a lot of the Catholic organizations and individuals within our diocese on various things. We might hold endowment funds for them, operating funds, money market funds. For individuals, we can hold donor-advised funds. We can help them with their planned giving or end-of-life needs. So we really are just a resource for a lot of different things, but we are a free resource. We don't cost. If somebody wants to call and ask questions about, what does a Catholic funeral look like? What do I have to tell my kids about planning for that? We have a guide that Bishop Joensen and other priests in our diocese helped put together that now is used in many of our dioceses in the state of Iowa. We also have a really intuitive part estate planning kit that you can download to your computer and work on it as you need, or you can put it in physical form, but then share it with your family, your estate attorney, whoever you think really needs to know that. And I think if there's one takeaway that people take from today is that's kind of how we shine our light on the world, is we want to help make sure that we connect your faith to all of the meaningful points of your life. And one of those is going to be end of life at some point.
So I don't think you mentioned this yet. You work closely with the diocese, but you are not part of it in terms of like how you're funded or how you're structured. So can you talk a little bit about that independent structure?
Correct. So we are a separate 501c3 organization, and back in 2012, when Bishop Pates brought this to fruition, it really was for a couple of main reasons. One was to offer an investment option for our churches and schools and other organizations that was a low cost, but also good return using Catholic values investment structure. And so while you put money with us, we don't own it. We just manage it and invest it on your behalf. You decide how you want to spend it. Who gets to make those decisions. So it's a great opportunity for people to be part of this really big bucket of $175 million in funds.
So let's talk for a minute about grants, because this year, Iowa Catholic Radio benefited from a grant from the foundation, and I see Deacon Mark is back with us and smiling.
I thought we might want to talk about that. So
let's talk about that.
Yeah, so we we have a lot of ways that we want to be able to, again, broadcast the light of Christ. And knowing that we're growing in an expanding media market, have been for quite a while, that there's so many different ways that people are consuming media, consuming information. And while our bread and butter is still radio, obviously, we can take the content that we do here on the radio and as Alexia is doing right now, taking some video and capturing some aspects of what we do that then we can turn into stuff that we put out social media. But what we thought would be really nice is to have an atmosphere where we could have a little bit more relaxed setting. There's a lot of things in our way right now, microphones and wires and things that distract us. But could we create an environment where we could have conversations that we could put out, again, in the digital platform? So we applied for a grant for a podcast studio space that's equipped with some halfway decent furniture. You might, I'm saying if you're a college kid, you'd probably love it. If it's a starter home, maybe it'd be great. It's not the most comfortable, but it looks really nice. And we've got some great audio equipment in there as well, some lighting. So we really hope to be able to use that much more in this upcoming year. We got it kind of finished up right towards the end of the year. And this is a space not only for us, but the community can use. Because we have the audio-visual capability and the editing capability with some of our staff, we can help parishes and organizations tell their story. And we can do it within this setting where, again, it could just be a nice, comfortable, relaxed conversation in around, whatever it is we want to promote or highlight, things that bring the light of Christ into the world. So we're really appreciative and excited. It was a lot of fun planning and getting it all pulled together. Obviously, we had to kind of repurpose. That used to be my office back there. So I got moved to another closet, and then now I have a little bit bigger desk to work with, which is just more room for me to scatter stuff around. But anyhow, so thankful to the Catholic Foundation of Southwest Iowa for considering us worthy and for giving us that grant. So that's I don't know what else I could say other than if anybody out there is interested in using that space, please get a hold of us here at Iowa Catholic Radio.
Sounds great. And in a minute, Sue, we're going to talk to another grantee who has benefited from Catholic Foundation of Southwest Iowa in terms of also being able to share that light of the world and light of Christ. And Brady's giving me the big thumbs up. That must mean we have Steve Sauvain, principal of Shelby County Catholic Schools, on the line. Hello, Steve.
Hello. Glad to be here.
And Sue's here with us as well. And we are excited to hear about what you've done with your grant and what the impact has been in Shelby County.
Sure, you bet. Well, one of the beautiful things about starting a transitional kindergarten program is it allows us to welcome children and families into our Catholic school community even earlier in their educational journey. So we feel at that age, children are naturally curious, they're trusting, they're open to learning about the world around them. And in a Catholic environment, we have the opportunity to nurture not only their academic development, but also their hearts. And that's one of the mottos of our school is small school, big hearts. And so our hope is that from the very beginning of their schooling, children get to experience kindness, prayer in the classroom, respect for one another, and a sense that they are a part of something really bigger than themselves. So when we teach young children to care for others, to show gratitude, and to recognize God's presence in their lives, we're truly helping to shine that light of Christ. So our transitional kindergarten program has really been a wonderful thing to see grow. We started out with 13 students this year, and we already have a list of about 14 for the next school year.
Now, this may be new terminology to some people. Transitional kindergarten, also known as optional K at St. Augustine, and developmental K at some other places. So tell us kind of how you recognize that need. And then I think you shared with me this program would not be possible without the grant from the Catholic Foundation. So talk a little bit about that as well.
You bet. So transitional kindergarten is something that, unfortunately, with the teacher shortages and things across the state, a lot of schools in our area anyway were canceling their transitional kindergarten program. And I have just always felt after 42 years in education that we have a lot of those kids who come to us in the 4-year-old preschool program, and they have those young birthdays. They've got those late summer birthdays, and they just aren't quite ready socially and emotionally to go on to kindergarten. And I really see that, in my educational journey, the older they get, the more prominent that becomes. So I think it's really a big niche that I think educationally we've done a disservice to kids by not offering it. And like you said, we would not have been able to offer this program when you start talking about a curriculum for those kids, because they are actually learning at the same Iowa standards that our kindergarten students do. So we want them to be academically prepared to succeed when they move on to kindergarten the next year. But we can't thank the foundation enough for all that they've given us for the opportunity to start the program.
It makes me think of the church hymn about the light of Christ and the light that only, the little seed planted inside of you that only grows in the light of Christ, and how transitional kindergarten for the kids that are those in-betweeners, it really helps them have a way to shine, and that carries on forever. I'm a mom of my optional kindergartner is now 23 years old and in graduate school. But I just do remember what a gift and what a grace that was that St. Augustine offered that. And it's just, that is such a gift to those children and their families in terms of such a long-term, we're here with the foundation. We've been talking about investments. It's a long-term investment in their faith and their formation and in their future academic success and options. So really applaud you for making that possible in Shelby County. Now, what parishes do families that you serve come from?
Oh, gosh, we've got all sorts. We've got 6 parishes that feed into and they're all in little small towns around Harlan. So we've got the parish in Portsmouth, Iowa, Panama, Iowa, Erling, Iowa, Westphalia, St. Michael's here in Harlan, and then we also go over to Defiance, Iowa for that parish. So we've got 6 that feed us. And the neat thing right now about our school in particular is we've got a wealth of young families in our area. And, some of the teachers that have been here for a while, we're getting a lot of those kids who are graduates of our school who are now back home, settling down in the Harlan area and choosing us for their educational needs. It's been wonderful.
Sue, is there anything you'd like to add or ask Steve?
No, I just applaud Steve for stepping forward with the grant, because so often people are like, oh, I have to write a grant. I really don't want to go through all of that. It's not a real tedious process. You do have to provide some information, but it's all online. We guide you through the process, and you could potentially get anywhere from $1 to the excess of last year, our largest grant ever of $33,000. So there's so much opportunity. And if there's anyone out there that has wondered, I wonder if I could, you can pick up the phone and call me, 515-237-5044, and let's talk through what you're thinking about, and we can help guide you through that process. It really isn't difficult.
So Steve
Nope, it's painless. If this old guy can do it, anybody can.
I was going to say, school principals, that's a really busy life. So I do applaud you for doing the grant and the implementation of a new program. So Steve's story is, and Mark sharing about Deacon Mark, have shared a couple of examples of how you connect to the theme that we have this week in terms of Light of the World, but how else do you see the work of the foundation serving as the light of the world, or evangelizing, or making these kinds of things possible that touch the lives of Iowans?
Oh, I saw the theme and I thought, that's our mission. We oversee faith-based investing and plan giving for parishes, schools, and individuals, and we help people put their faith where their finances are. And so often we think it's just at church, or it's just at religious education, or at Bible study, but it can be in so many facets of your life, and really proud of the fact that we can help light that up in different parts of someone's life.
So let's talk a little bit more about that. We talked about the narrow way, but talk about how the Catholic social teaching, Catholic values, that lens is. It's not a suggestion. It is how you do what you do is within the framework of our Catholic faith.
Absolutely. So 98% of all of the funds that we invest in abide by the United States Catholic Conference of Bishops Catholic values investing. 98%. Now, we think we're a little higher than that, but I know we'll never be at 100 because there are just some things we can't dig deeply enough into. But 98% of everything we do is connected to our faith. And, most people look at you and say, well, then you must not be getting very good returns. On the contrary, we do very well in that respect. Now, we don't chase the S&P because we have this big bucket with all these different funds in it, some as small as $25,000 and some that might have $3 or $4 million. So we have to be cognizant of all of them, and we have a really strong investment committee that oversees that on our behalf. So really proud of the fact that we connect our faith at such a high level in everything that we do.
When people do discover you, do they feel like a sense of relief, or on the, whether it's the Catholic planning guide for funerals, or whether it's estate planning or having that other assistant, sort of relief that they're doing things that would match their intentions, or that they're getting that formalized for their family?
Yeah, I think sometimes, Erin, it's almost like, how come I don't know about you? Where have you been for the last 14 years? And I think that's the one thing that we really struggle with, is helping people understand who we are and how we can help them. But once we get in front of individuals, it's usually that sense of relief, like, okay, there is something that I can put together to help my family understand what's important to me at the end of my life. Unfortunately, we have a friend who passed away suddenly this week, and I think about their family and, did they think ahead about what they wanted and what was important? And I think in this case, her family does know that, but there are others who think to themselves, this is what I want and this is how I want that to be handled. But unless you tell someone and you put it down, it's really hard to know after the fact. So take that first step and start writing those details down.
So, and we'll encourage our listeners to, why don't you give us the website? But then I also want to make sure we've got time to find out why our listeners should support Iowa Catholic Radio, because this is an investment in that too. And then I want to know your favorite show. But why don't you get us that website so we make sure we remember?
Sure. We're at www.cfswia.org. My favorite show, well, it has to be Getting Personal with Bishop. I mean, who doesn't like Bishop Joensen? I mean, really.
I know she was just on the show. I saw it on the podcasting page.
And I don't think I'm speaking out of confidence here, but I think it was about 6 or 8 months ago. I met with Bishop and Jean to just kind of talk about how they were feeling about the show, where things were at, and the Bishop was like genuinely concerned if people were listening.
He didn't know if he really had enough fans.
Yeah, and it was just it was an expression of humility, right? Of just like he wants to be able to communicate, and he appreciates having this vessel to be able to speak to his flock, and I think he does a phenomenal job with the show, and of course he's got Jean there to help guide him through the conversations. But yeah, no, it's great to have you on and share a little bit more about the Catholic Foundation of Southwest Iowa, because I just really relish the opportunity that Iowa Catholic Radio has to be fellow workers in the vineyard. You know, as we all work to build up the kingdom of God, we provide a platform where people can get information that they may not have heard or known otherwise. And again, that you thought Iowa Catholic Radio worthy over there at the foundation to give us a grant to, again, continue our work here too. I just so appreciative of the collaboration of all the great organizations within our community and throughout our state that, again, are building up the kingdom of God and the church.
And sadly, we're up to the time where we have to say goodbye to Sue and goodbye to Steve. And thank you for sharing your witness about being light to the world and how you're helping others do that, from the very, very young to those who are preparing for end of life, which should be all of us. And one of the things I thought about that you just said, Deacon Mark, was somewhere in here it says, if you've been touched by Catholic radio. Mm-hmm. There's no way if you've listened to Catholic radio that you have not been touched by it or learned something new. And this is a perfect example of learning something new. So people have said, where have you been all this time? If you listen to Catholic radio, you know about those things more quickly, I feel like. And they're things that impact your life and your family and your faith. And these are fancy new microphones. I got to get used to the new microphone. There's probably a grant behind these microphones. So whoever funded them, thank you. So when I think about it, this is a perfect opportunity to give. 515-223-1150, 515-223-1150. You can give not only on the app and on the website, which is what we used to say, but Deacon Mark, tell him all the new...
You can text the word donate to 515-223-1150. We'll send you a link where you can donate safely and securely. Also through Venmo, it's at IA Catholic Radio. And there is no gift too great or too small. Every dollar helps shine the light of Christ across the Iowa Catholic Radio Network. As they say, from border to border. We're not quite river to river, but we're growing. And that's only because so many people, like the Catholic Foundation of Southwest Iowa and others we've heard from today, have believed in our work, in our mission, and have helped us cast this light into a world that is dark in many ways. So we are appreciative of everyone who's given so far, but if you haven't yet, we've been encouraging you to first pray, then listen, and then give. 515-223-1150 is the number to call. You could speak to my daughter Lily right now if you want to call, and she's 19 years old and looking for a friend.
She's lovely.
So, no, folks, it's great to be with you this afternoon. And Sue, again, thank you very much for everything you guys do.
So when we come back from the break, we will be talking about Dorothy's house.
Another partner.
Another partner. So we'll be back.
Putting the fun in fundraiser.
Where were we?
Making money in the Lord's service.
You don't say much, friend, but when you do, it's to the point, and I salute you for it.
It's the Spring Fundraiser on Iowa Catholic Radio.
Support for programming comes from Golden Rule Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, specializing in all your home's heating and cooling needs. From preventative maintenance and repairs to new furnaces and ACs and mini splits for your garage or sunroom. Learn more at goldenrulephc.com.
Walk quite a few miles with you now, and you've never walked away. Been through a few trials and somehow I bent but did not break you. Never fail me, and you never will. It's true, might sound crazy, but I'll say it still. I count it all joy when I run into trouble. I count it all good when the bad days come. 'Cause I know that you're always working, and I know that you're still not done. So I'm gonna lift your praise through the trial. Ain't no storm gonna stop my voice. 'Cause I've lived some life and I've learned that I can always count it all grace, count it all joy. I gave you my heart in pieces, and it healed inside your hands. The more I learn, I can trust you, Jesus. Oh, the more I understand you never fail me, and you never will. You prove it on the daily, so I say it still. I count it all joy when I run into trouble. I count it all good when the bad days come. 'Cause I know that you're always working, and I know that you're still not done. So I'm gonna lift your praise through the trial. Ain't no storm gonna stop my voice. 'Cause I've lived some life and I've learned that I can always count it all grace, count it all joy. I'm counting all my blessings. I'm naming them one by one. That number keeps getting higher, and I've only just begun. I'm counting all my blessings. I'm naming them one by one. And that number keeps getting higher, and I've only just begun. I count it all joy when I run into trouble. I count it all good when the bad days come. 'Cause I know that you're always working, and I know that you're still not done. So I'm gonna lift your praise through the trial. Ain't no storm gonna stop my voice. 'Cause I've lived some life and I've learned that I can always count it all grace, count it all joy. Joy. I'll count it all joy. Count it all joy.
Support provided by the law offices of Amanda T. Adams, Catholic owned and operated. Amanda offers a variety of family legal services, including probate, estate planning, and potential adoption cases, by appointment only. Learn more at amandatadamsjdlaw.com.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio comes from John Leonetti, EOS Implementer, the entrepreneurial operating system, helping businesses and organizations clarify, simplify, and achieve their vision. John.Leonetti at EOSworldwide.com.
It's the Spring Fundraiser on Iowa Catholic Radio.
Welcome back in. Welcome back into the Spring Fundraiser. I am Deacon Mark Campbell, along with Erin Hurley.
And we are not at the Iowa State Fair. We are in the studio live.
Live and coming at you. We are excited to be with you this afternoon as we talk about You Are the Light of the World. And that's our theme for this year's Spring Fundraiser, reminding you that you have the light of Christ in you, and you have helped Iowa Catholic Radio broadcast the light of Christ into the world through 2 decades now and counting. You've helped us grow from a station out of AM station out of Norwalk into a 5-station network with 5 owned and operated stations, 3 affiliates, so 8 stations in total. And so it's an exciting time to be a part of this mission. We want to invite you, if you haven't already, to consider calling 515-223-1150, or you can go online to iowacatholicradio.com to make a donation. You can also give through Venmo at IA Catholic Radio, or by texting the word donate to 515-223-1150. We'll shoot you back a link where you can give safely and securely. How about that, Erin?
That's fantastic. And I have a question our listeners may have, which is, What do you need the money for?
What do we need the money for? Well, many things. Not you, because you are
I am a happy
happy volunteer, as I've referred to you for quite some time now. But as many people have experienced, rising costs in electricity, and what it takes to run 5 stations is a tremendous amount of electricity, first and foremost. Along with that, we have some places where we rent tower space for our broadcast signals. So there's rent. We have our studio here in West Des Moines, and you're welcome to stop by and visit us anytime at 1355 50th Street, Suite 500, situated between Intervisions and Vitae Family Healthcare. Vitae Family Health.
We'll come up with it.
Yeah,
Vitae.
Let's just call it Vitae. Everybody knows.
For life.
Regardless, it's Christ Corner with Pulse Life and Mary's Helping Hands across the street. So we have our own little corner here, and the studio. If you come in here, you will see a tremendous amount of equipment from our engineering room to the production room, and then there's the people that it takes to have the technical skills and knowledge to run the station. So there are a lot of ways that the money gets used, but it's all used with, I dare I say, since I'm in charge of it, with prudence and just a knowledge of how much you sacrifice to make it possible that we do this work of evangelization, teaching the faith and defending our faith. It's tremendously exciting work, and we want you to be a part of it. So again, 515-223-1150 is the number to call, or online at iowacatholicradio.com. And we've been talking to people who have been a light of Christ in the community, in their parishes, in their families, and I think we should get to our next guest.
Okay, we have Austin Stubbs from Dorothy's House, who's in the studio. Welcome, Austin.
Thanks for having me.
Get right on up next to that microphone. Don't be afraid of it. Yeah, or pull it in if you need to.
Right there. All right.
And you're not quite in this corner, like geographically, but tell us a little bit about Dorothy's House. This may be the first time some of our listeners have learned about it.
Yeah, so Dorothy's House, we're a safe house for survivors of human trafficking. We are the first and only complete continuum of care in the state of Iowa. So what that means is not only do we have a long-term residential restoration program that moves into an independent living space, we have opened our crisis or emergency services house in 2025. So we're that complete continuum of care. So we start with our crisis housing, moves into our long-term restoration, and then as the gals gain more independence, they move into the independent 2-bedroom apartment complex rooms.
So one of the things Iowa Catholic Radio does exceptionally well is talk about hard things. And this is a topic that for some it's very difficult, to maybe believe it's happening in Iowa, or also just to wrap their minds around or open their hearts to, because it can be difficult to think about. And so tell us how are you able to advocate for these women, and how are you able to share your story in such a way that people feel more comfortable? Maybe we don't want to feel comfortable, that's not the right word, but are ready to learn and understand what the needs are and what that potential for that recovery and resilience and moving forward from that. I think you used a word also a little bit earlier when you and I were talking about being a faith forward, not faith-based, but a faith forward organization. So how do you have conversations, and can you kind of walk us maybe into a conversation about the need and about how you're responding to that need and what you're seeing for the impact of the work of Dorothy's House?
Yeah, unfortunately, the need continues to rise for services to help survivors of human trafficking. When we have these discussions a lot, we realize that Des Moines is a major metropolitan area. But the rest of Iowa, or Des Moines as well, is Iowa nice. And so that combination of those two things really makes Iowa ripe for human trafficking. A lot of people think, like you mentioned, that human trafficking can't or doesn't exist here on a large scale, certainly. But we recognize that even in Polk County, potentially there are up to 1,000 girls and boys as well that are being trafficked at any given moment. Human trafficking is a really hard metric to keep. A lot of it is familial trafficking here in Iowa especially, and a lot of it goes underreported or unreported. But we're just trying to bring awareness to the issue, as you mentioned, and some of those conversations are very uncomfortable, whether we're meeting with Rotaries or business leaders or individuals or various groups. Sometimes we want to make that a little bit uncomfortable. And I think there's been a lot of momentum in bringing awareness and education to this space and to the fact that human trafficking does exist in a very rampant way in Iowa. The last couple of years, great momentum. We got to continue to increase the awareness of what is happening. As we opened our crisis emergency housing here in 2025, we had over 250 referrals just in 1 year. And that was our first year of operating a crisis emergency housing unit. We only have 4 beds in that unit. And so we were unable to serve all the women. But we're going to continue to expand and try to meet the need, adapt to the need. And that's why we opened the crisis house to begin with, is we realized that women need help right then and right there. And not all women can go through a 3 or 4 week application process, detoxing themselves. They needed immediate housing, immediate support. And that's what we do at Dorothy's House, is we adapt to the need and we try to meet it the best that we can.
So now Iowa Catholic Radio is becoming part of your story because you've been on air and you've been building awareness through the radio. So how has that helped you maybe in your efforts to make more people aware of what you're doing and aware of the problem?
I think it's helped a lot. We noticed when we partnered with Iowa Catholic Radio a significant increase in the donations that we were receiving, individual donations, also traffic to our website or involvement in our website. So it's been a very successful partnership for us. We're very excited to continue that relationship and to continue to work together to bring awareness to human trafficking in Iowa, but then also being able to provide the support to survivors that is needed in Des Moines.
Talk a little bit about how you got drawn into this type of work. Again, a difficult topic when we talk about darkness, the darkness that permeates the world, and being to be able to resource of light. Talk about how you were drawn into this particular work.
Yeah, I years ago tried to get involved in this space and unfortunately received a similar answer every time. As a young single man, there was not a role for you. And I just continued to learn on my own and study, read books, listen to podcasts, and just learn about the issue and realized how significant of an issue it is worldwide and in Iowa. And I was spent about 7 years back and forth in Europe. And I just decided a few years ago I was going to come back and I was going to fight human trafficking in Iowa. I didn't know what that was going to look like. And so I came back and right off the bat, reached out to Dorothy's House. Dorothy's House, we connected, and I started working with Dorothy's House on in a number of different areas. And we've just been working together to continue to fight human trafficking, seeking to eradicate human trafficking in Des Moines and in Polk County, and be the best state for human trafficking, the model that other states can follow after in providing excellent survivor support, trauma-informed, or even survivor-informed care.
So let's talk a little bit so we've talked about maybe how Dorothy's House through services and through those relationships is the light of the world. How can individuals help identify people that may be being trafficked and be a light to them and helping connect them to crisis help or help them connect to Dorothy's House? What is it that we need to know to have our eyes wider open and our ears listening for potential signs that someone may be in trouble?
Yeah, and I think this is such an important question to answer, is because so often in Iowa, it is that familial trafficking. And
tell us what that is.
Yeah.
Some people, that's
sure.
a fancy way of saying...
girls and boys are getting trafficked most frequently in Iowa by their families or by loved ones or by boyfriends or girlfriends, people that they know, people that are close to them. And so those signs are important, that we're recognizing these signs and making sure that we call someone who can potentially look into whether those are signs or whether those are anything else. And so if something looks wrong, it might be wrong, and it's better just to give a call to law enforcement or the human trafficking hotline and just say, this is what I saw, and let them deal with it. Let them take it from there. It's so important that this happens because while we are involved in law enforcement, undercover sting operations, quote unquote, setting up the bad guy, helping the girls get to restoration programs, that is not the large majority of what is happening here in Polk County. And we have to have people who are aware of it, who are looking for something that's wrong. And if something's wrong, saying something and calling law enforcement, calling the national hotline or the local hotline as well.
And tell us about this, so survivor-informed care, and what are you seeing in terms of when survivors get the help that they need, when they need it? What are you seeing for those outcomes, and how are you seeing that the world that was very, very dark for them start to let in more and more of that light?
Yeah, I think when we meet the need, when they have an immediate need, the outcomes are significantly greater. We kind of track that through how many women are making it through our restoration program and into our independent living space and thriving in that space. And as we've opened that crisis unit, we've seen an increase in the women that are graduating from our restoration program, moving into our independent living space and thriving there. And that's because we are meeting that need immediately, right then and there. And we're taking the women in sometimes imminent danger out of the situation that they're in and providing that resource for them. But resilience is truly the most amazing trait that these women display, in my opinion. So much resilience, overcoming significant trauma. And while we want to be trauma-informed, we want to take it a step further, and we want to be survivor-informed. So the women who have graduated through our program or other women who have experienced human trafficking can inform our program in the way that we do things, so that we can make sure we're providing the highest quality of resources to the women that they need.
Mm. You know, this is phenomenal. I mean, this is a topic I don't go looking for. It's not one I want to think about. Again, kind of to your point earlier, we hear about it, but we don't want to think about it, and maybe don't even want to deal with it. I'm just really grateful for this opportunity for for allow you to kind of talk to us about it, kind of get in our face a little about that. This is happening, and the fact that because people have supported Iowa Catholic Radio, in a sense, they're supporting you right now, and supporting Dorothy's House, and getting this message out here that again, this is something real, and that as terrible as it is, there is hope. There is opportunity for people to experience, as you said, resiliency, redemption, to come out of that darkness into the light. And Austin, just a tremendous amount of respect for you and the work that you guys do to, again, really meet this need right where it's at, in the trenches. And so, again, thank you for this opportunity to, again, be partners with you and again, hopefully, we have no idea how many people can be impacted through a story like this, or through a segment like this, or anytime you turn on the radio, what you're going to encounter that is going to change the trajectory of somebody's life. And I'm just tremendously grateful for this opportunity. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Coming on to talk about it.
Yeah, there could be someone listening right now that has maybe had that question in their mind about someone. Maybe they've noticed a change in behavior, or a change in eating or sleeping, or just a child whose personality isn't what it was. Or even I've noticed when there's information shared about human trafficking too, where there's information that says, if you are not free, if you're working and you're not getting paid, if you don't have the choice of where you are, if you can't freely walk away, like in some cases, it's also building awareness in the people being trafficked that this is not okay, that this is not... This is not how, this is not how you are to be treated by others. And so there are so many different layers to what that awareness could look like. And so it's tremendously important that we do talk about it. And as I shared earlier, we talk about hard things, and this is a really hard thing, I think, for many of us. And we're parents over here, and so it's really hard to think about. And then we somehow think that magically Iowa isn't experiencing what's going on in other communities, and we are.
Yeah,
we are.
It's a big city problem, and the reality is we're at the crossroads here with 35 and 80. I know that's one of the culprits of the reason why it is so high a demographic. Anything else, Austin, that you want to talk about as it relates to Dorothy's House, and anything you guys have coming up event-wise, or awareness that you guys are providing the community?
We're just going to continue doing the good work and adapting to the need, whatever that may be. That might change in 2026, and it might change in 2027, but we'll be there to adapt to the need. We are announcing our first ever annual gala, September 10th. I'm not going to announce all the details here.
All right.
But it's going to be...
You probably are, just not today.
It's going to be incredible. We're going to have a great keynote speaker, someone who I don't think has been to Des Moines and will really hopefully set Des Moines on fire with his passion as well. So we're really excited. That's what's coming up for us, but we have to continue to educate and bring awareness to this issue. There's people going all over the state, going to high schools, middle schools, educating them on what is happening. And every time they go there, there's multiple students that step out of the room and realize, oh, this is happening to me. And that's what we have to continue to do and understand that in this new generation of technology with social media, so much is going on. Creating not only the product, as they would say, the girls or boys that are being trafficked, but with what's happening to the mind of our young boys. It's creating the demand, unfortunately. So we have to make sure that we're adding awareness in our education and our awareness training, that what is happening online is creating both sides of the issue. And we have to make sure that our parents, our educators, and our kids have an awareness of it.
Well, count Iowa Catholic Radio in if I have anything to say about that gala. So we look forward to hearing the announcement on that. But folks, as we wind down this hour, I want to again thank Austin Stubbs from Dorothy's House for joining us, again, for your partnership. And for you, the listener, you are the light of the world, and you have helped Iowa Catholic Radio shine the light. So here's your opportunity to shine once more with a gift that helps sustain and grow our mission.
A shiny penny, a shiny dime, a shiny check.
Yeah, a shiny check. Whatever. A shiny bar of gold. We would take that given the gold prices right now. But really, folks, it's because of you that we've been able to tell stories like this and, again, talk about hard things, but also bring it back to our human dignity and how we're created in the image and likeness of God, and that nobody's outside of that love and that mercy and that restoration and that healing. And God's grace that provides that resiliency to come back from the most unimaginable circumstances that life can sometimes put some of us in. So if you want to be a part of sustaining this work, we ask you to consider making a financial gift to our spring fundraiser. Again, you are the light of the world. This is not me telling you. This is actually the words of Christ telling you this, because we find it in the Gospel of Matthew. And so if you feel called to join the mission financially, 515-223-1150. You can also text the word donate to 515-223-1150, and we'll provide you with a safe and secure donation link. Or just call us right now, 515-223-1150. If you need to later, go on to iowacatholicradio.com and make your gift there as well. Thanks to everyone who has supported us so far. And a few shout outs and thank yous. We had a $1,000 match on the table from Rita in Johnston. And because of Nathan and Stephanie's $200 gift, Kathy gave a $100 gift. We received a $360 gift from David in Indianola, and George in West Des Moines with a $50 gift, and Dan from West Des Moines with a $250 gift. Wiped that $1,000 off the table. And so we thank you to one and all who have donated so far, but we've got a long ways to go to our $300,000 goal for the week. And so now is the chance to make a gift and provide your parish a chance to have a staff lunch. Erin, do you have that information in front of you?
Oh, I do, because my parish told me that if our parish has the most gifts, like new monthly gifts or over $100,
both and,
then the priests and the staff can have Chick-fil-A. So I do know about the competition.
Well, very good. So you've provided the listeners with the details there. Yeah, every new monthly giver or gift over $100, make sure you let us know what your parish is. And the top 5 parishes that generate the most new monthly givers or $100 gifts will win a staff lunch for their parish. So that's just one more reason to give. All of these great reasons.
I have an
Need I say more?
Unrelated fundraiser question. So do we have Leslie Teeling's chocolate chip cookies somewhere in the studio?
Ooh, I think she's just put them. She's going to be joining us in studio tomorrow. So
I picked the wrong day.
She's got 24 hours to deliver.
24 hours to make those cookies. That would be a real fundraising contest. So thank you, Deacon Mark. And if you didn't catch how you can give, you can also give at iowacatholicradio.com and 515-223-1150. If you learned something new about human trafficking and you want to learn more, Austin, tell us how they can find out more about Dorothy's House?
Yeah, please look us up on our website. You can contact the email there or give us a call. We'd love to connect. We'd love to get you involved. If you want to volunteer, bring your specialty, what you're passionate about or your hobby to the women in our program. And we're always looking to connect further in the community.
And invite him to come talk to your group. It's important that we do, because the flip side, if we don't, is that more people get hurt. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, keep talking about it. Thank you so much. Are we going to have a break?
I think we got time for a break, a little song to carry us into the 4 o'clock hour. Coming up, we'll have Jean Till, as mentioned earlier in the segment today, host of Making It Personal with Bishop William Joensen. She will have Father Bruce Riebe of the Byzantine Outreach, as well as Father Alex Kramer from St. Francis of Assisi, talking about their vocations and their call to the priesthood, and also how they've been involved with Iowa Catholic Radio over the years. In the 5 o'clock hour, we'll have Deacon Orange and his wife, Marilyn Strucker from St. Francis of Assisi. I believe that's going to be a pretty powerful hour, so you're not going to want to miss that. It's going to be the
power hour, 5 o'clock power hour.
That's right. And I think we're going to have a good-sized challenge on the table for the folks that tune in during the 5 o'clock hour. So right now is your chance. 515-223-1150 is the number to call, or online at iowacatholicradio.com. We're going to take a little break, but we'll come back at 4 o'clock with more of the Spring Fundraiser. And remember, you are the light of the world, so now's your time to shine. Call us now, 515-223-1150.
Putting the fun in fundraiser.
We ain't one at a time in here. We're mass communicating.
It's the Spring Fundraiser on Iowa Catholic Radio.